How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to some more Phantom Hourglass. In today's video, we're going to do some progression around the sea, just getting some new war points unlocked, and then we're going to make our way towards the next temple, which is going to be our third. So we are slowly inching closer to the ghost ship. This is kind of where I feel the game starts getting really interesting, because I do like the continuing Temple of the Ocean King visits a lot more than these first ones. Not so much because it's overly difficult, but just because it's, I don't know, I feel like it's more unique coming up. Like, I would say it's fairly straightforward. At least the next visit is to the Temple of the Ocean King. But it's interesting, like, the new ways that they incorporate, like, stealthing around the phantoms and whatnot. And the new types of phantoms we're going to be experiencing. So I really enjoy it, and I think they did the Temple of the Ocean King really well in the late game. But we still do have a few more trips there, and I think currently where I'm at, I'm only about one trip ahead. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how the rest of the Temple of the Ocean King goes, because it's been a hot minute, but from what I've seen so far, I am really enjoying it, so looking forward to another trip. I believe saying yes to this guy is going to give us a treasure map, which, using the Salvage Arm is a little tricky. Having a lot of rupees to repair it's going to be really handy. Personally, I'm not very great at maneuvering with it, but there's probably people out there that are just pros with it. But personally, I'm just terrible at maneuvering around the Salvage Arm, so I have cut out a lot of the fails I got to, just because it would have been horrendous just watching me go over and over and failing with the Salvage Arm. So thankfully, you don't have to witness that, the total lack of skill with the Salvage Arm. So there's that to look forward to, or not to look forward to, however you want to look at it. So, like I said, there is quite a few more, not quite a few, but there's, I think, just one more frog that we can go to yet, but we're not going there quite yet. We do have a little trip to make to this island first. I forget all the island names. Like, I feel like they're not super memorable. I mean, I know there's one that was like shaped like a DS, but I don't quite remember what it was called. Maybe it's called DS Island, like DEE and then ESS maybe, or something like that. But it's like a pun with the DS name. They were really creative with some islands, but it doesn't mean I'm going to remember them all. So we got a nice little wisdom gem from Salvatore. If you don't know who that is the guy that we did the cannon running game with in the previous video. I think it was the previous video. And we unfortunately do have one more super horrible mini game to get through, which I've long since gotten through, but it took way too long. Way too long. And you are required to get the Salvage Arm if you want to progress through the game. The way this works, I believe, is that you have to shout into your microphone as loud as possible to get the best discount. So, if you don't want to shout, you can just blow into your microphone, or, I don't know, move your hand across the microphone. And that's what's kind of going on right now, because I didn't feel like shouting, so I just blew into my microphone. But I didn't record that, because I don't want to be like blowing on the microphone in the video, and just kind of fumbling around. But I believe 200 rupees is the lowest deal you can get it for. So, what a bargain. I think its Salvage Arm is customizable, maybe, but even if it is, I'm pretty sure you can't get the parts for it, like the different styles, until you actually have it, so there's no easy way to get it. You just gotta buy it with the rupees. And then, so from what I understand with ship parts, they all have to be the same style to get the benefit from them. I don't think I have like any matching sets currently, so it is probably going to be, if it ever happens, probably really late game before I actually you know, like get a decent ship going. I like the customization aspects in this game in Spirit Tracks, but I just feel that some of the parts were a bit too tedious to get in terms of like, because some of them are like odds based, like there's only certain odds of getting them. I feel it should have been maybe locked behind like tasks or certain things. Like maybe you have to sail around the map in a certain amount of time to get one part, or you have to kill a certain amount of enemies to get like another part. You know, it is what it is. And once we stop here, Lineback's gonna make a little comment right here. And if you came here without the Salvage Arm, you might be wondering, what in the Sam Hill am I supposed to do? Well, somehow Link can see underwater with the Salvage Arm. I don't know how exactly it works. Maybe Celia just tops aboard and we can't see her. And she's waterproof. So the health is kind of carried on from Salvage Arm to Salvage Arm, like rescue missions, whatever you want to call them for the treasures. So if you take 1 damage now, you're only going to have 4 left on your next salvage, and so on and so forth. If you want to repair it, you can go to, I think it's called Murky Island, whatever the first island that you're at. You go talk to the little dude who does ship stuff, and he is going to repair it for you, and I think it may cost more depending on how damaged it is. I could be wrong though. You do want to be careful about the like little sea urchin mines down here, because they will mess you up, and that will not be good, because this thing costs a lot of money, and currently we don't have really any treasure to sell that's worth a lot, so we do have to be careful on that. But I do like that we can sell our extra ship parts that we might be having, so it takes care of a little worry. Wow, I'm surprised I didn't take damage today. I thought I was gonna. Some of them are easier than others, for sure. I think it's just, it might be set for certain X's. Like, it's never going to be an easy one for a certain X. It's always just whatever the developers made them as. Like, this first one I feel is one of the easier ones. So, now that we have the Sun Key, we have seen a Sun Key door before on an island that I can't remember what it's called. But first off, I did take a few visits to some of these X's. So, you can just zoom your way on over to the X's. No big deal. And there's some pretty interesting items you can get from some of the X's. Let me pull up the handy dandy guide I got here. While we're just sailing around. Treasure map. Actually, let's just dive it. Alright, so, according to the Zelda Dungeons website, we can get ship parts, which you'll see at some point soon. You can get rupees, you can also get random treasures, you can get sand for your Phantom Hourglass, and I believe I thought there was a heart container you can get, but I don't think so for sure. But this one's fairly straightforward as well. It's not overly difficult. And there's those 100 rupees. I'm not sure how you're supposed to go about getting them, if you're supposed to get them on the return trip or the way down. But it's a little tricky. I personally don't go towards them. I think I went towards them at one point, but for the most part, I try to avoid them because there's going to be easier ways to get rupees, and I feel it's just a scam, kind of. Because I think you'd probably take damage if you tried getting it, but maybe not. So, thankfully, we only take 1 damage from the little urchin things, so not a big deal, but it is what it is. And about the hourglass time, it adds, I think, a minute per like little sand that you find. So, if you're struggling in the Temple of the Ocean King and you have some of these X's left to go to, like you haven't gotten any of the treasure map rewards, that's an option. If you need more time in the Temple of the Ocean King, you can just swing to one of the X's And then if it's one with the Sand of Time, you can just get that, get yourself an extra minute or two. Currently, I think we can get, I want to say 2 more minutes for sure. So if you're struggling, you can just head down there, like underwater, to get them. And this is kind of another finicky drawing, but for the most part, I feel it's not like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not the game's fault, I should say. You just have to start the drawing a certain way, and I feel that might be what the gap's there for, tell you to start drawing from there. Because that's what I was struggling with in some of these earlier videos. I think I cut out, for the most part, a lot of my drawing issues, but you gotta draw it the right way. If you don't, then you're gonna mess up, so just be careful with your drawings, and assuming you draw it the right way, you'll be fine. And the reason there was cut there is because I broke my salvage arm there, which is a bit unfortunate, because like I said, some of these are a bit more tricky than others, but for the most part, you can get them done with some trial and error. And this is going to be our first little ship boss. You can kind of tell where its weak spot is, just the eye coming out of it. And the way you go about beating this guy, you just want to go back and forth to the ocean, over and over, side to side of him, not like away from the island, just kind of back and forth. And there's really no hard to dodge attacks from him. You can just shoot everything that he shoots at you, and you don't have to take any damage that way, so it's a pretty easy fight, in my opinion. Shoot things that he shoots at you, and be careful about these little barrels in the tornado. But you can shoot those things to destroy them. They might drop some hearts, I'm not sure. Otherwise, I think you could just run off from the island. You might be able to run off, get more health if you need it, but I'm not 100% certain on that. Here's a cool little idea, though. I do like that they kind of incorporated the water bosses in Wind Waker. Well, they had a lot more in Wind Waker, I should say. It's cool to see them return in this game, too. And then the start of one as Wolf Link in Twilight Princess. I'm not going to like by temple one because that's inside the temple itself, but I don't know. Water bosses are pretty cool, in my opinion. Just gotta be careful to not get hit by those little spike things, and then you'll be good. Another thing I do want to mention is I have been playing through the Oracle games again. I still do need to get up the Oracle of Ages linked game on the channel, and that's going to finish off the Oracle games, so I don't know if that's going to come after this one. Spirit Tracks might be after this, or Only Platoon Worlds remake. I know I always say that, but I still haven't decided for certain. So we'll just see what happens. But on to the boss fight. Yeah, you just keep going back and forth and shooting its eye. It doesn't have any new attack patterns or anything. It's just repeating what we've been doing. So, I guess it wasn't meant to be overly complicated, you know. Just kind of a little nuisance in our way, if you will. And it automatically sails us to the island, which is nice. Apologize if you can hear outside the garbage collectors picking up my garbage. So here we are back at Moladia. I think that's how you say it. Moladia Island. Or Molida. I don't know. I'm going to say it Moladia because that sounds better. And if you'll recall, there was a tree which we could dig in front of, and that drops us into a hole. Right there. And then in said hole, we're going to see that one sun-looking door. And you might be wondering, wow, I wonder if this key fits in there. And you'd be correct if you think that, because it does. Although it doesn't really have a cool animation like the door glowing or anything. It just kind of opens up, which is a little lame, but what are you going to do about it? And then we can dig right here, and I believe it's going to drop us into a hole that has a courage gem, I think? Wisdom gem. But we're getting up there with the wisdom gems, so I want to say in probably 3 videos time we might be able to get our defense going, which is nice. But coming up, there's going to be a slight puzzle that is going to help us get inside the temple, because otherwise we're going to be unable to access it. And I think this little statue thingy tells us how to do it. No, it doesn't. It tells us about Osh's little storage house. Okay, so you'll see these statues there, and we're going to need to activate them and point them all at the temple in order to get inside. So, we gotta first up get to them individually. Just gotta watch me struggle against some of these enemies quick. I hate the birds. They're just such a big old pain, especially with no bow yet. Although I'm not sure that the bow can reach them when they're up high. I don't know. I don't know how the heights work in this game. But I was paying more attention to that in the Oracle games. Like, if you're jumping, you're like... I don't know how they do it in 2D games. Like, how do they make you... Like, because you're not on a separate level, right? I would assume they just, like, make you invulnerable for a second. Maybe that's how they do it. Invulnerable for, like, a split second of when you're in the air. I really don't know how it works, but it works, and that's all that matters, because they did the whole depth thing really well in those 2D Zelda games. But would this be considered 2D? I think it's... I don't know. Is it 3D? Or 2D? I don't know. We unfortunately do have to deal with these suckers again, which is a little annoying, but knowing me, I can just barely make it. Which is nice, because that means that the temple will be invaded soon. I don't really know if there's any way to lure them out one by one, but this tree seemed to work with helping me stun this one guy. And then jump attacks are your friend for these guys, or spin attacks. Whatever you can muster up on them. And then just hope that your boomerang stuns them. Because I don't think there's any other way to beat them without stunning them. You might be able to throw a bomb and then throw it behind them to stun them, or maybe that would just damage them. I don't know for sure, but eventually I do take care of this guy. See? Had a good jump attack streak going there for a second. And there's another one of the statues, so we're just going to turn that to face the temple. And you just point the arrows the right way, or draw, I should say. And then one more to go. Those suckers stealing my rupees. That's not very nice. For this one, you can just throw the boomerang at it. You might be able to use a bomb too, but I don't know. Either way, that is going to do it for this video. In the next video, we're going to go inside this temple, which I can't remember the name of, and it contains a very exciting item, so hopefully I won't die in there. But thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.